Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to this video about some tips and resources for your document translation. This, of course, is an important part of the application process. This video is made for students that are currently in our early bird advising cohort, both undergraduate and graduate in 2025. If you are not in the early bird advising cohort and you would like to join or in a different year, please contact Education USA Mexico City, and we'd be happy to get you the information on the advising cohort as well as our other free services. So without further ado, we're going to talk about the documents that you need translated, which of course include transcripts. We'll talk about official translations, and then of course the difference between official and unofficial transcripts. We'll then get into undergraduate students and the documents that they'll need to provide to the universities they're applying to and consider translating. And then we'll also talk about the difference for graduate students and the different materials that they might be asked to provide and have translated. So, what is a transcript? And then what is the difference between an official and an unofficial transcript? So, your transcript, which can also be, you might know it as your Cardex or your Historial Académico, is the complete academic record of all courses taken at all universities and colleges, even your failed classes, or if you're a high school student, all of the courses taken in your third year of secondary school and all of your years of high school. Your transcript should be the grades that are provided directly by the institution. So it's not just you writing a list of the classes and the grades you got. It's what the institution, of course, says because you want it to be official. And it'll usually have an official signature or a stamp or a certification so that we know it came directly from the school. Your transcript should also include the grading scale and an explanation of any abbreviations. So for most students in Mexico, the grading scale is from 0 to 10, and they'll say somewhere on the bottom, usually it's 6 is failing and 7 through 10 is passing. If there are other abbreviations like letters, like M, if it means currently enrolled, you'll want to have that key or that explanation somewhere on the document. So, what is an official translation and why do I need to get it for my documents? An official translation is for documents translated by a translator who is certified by the country's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So these translators have to be certified in Mexico for their translations to be valid. They cannot, unfortunately, be done by you, your friends, an English teacher, or Education USA. We cannot do these official translation. It has to be someone who has the title of an official translator or perito traductor. Official translations will include the entire academic record and the page that has the grading scale and the explanation of the different codes and abbreviations used on the transcripts. So basically, they're going to translate every single word that is on your transcript, and they'll send that to the universities so the universities know that they're getting exactly what your official transcript says. So now I've said this a little bit. What's an official transcript versus an unofficial transcript? So official transcripts are ones that are signed and stamped or somehow marked by your institution that those are the official document. Usually your schools will only give you one of these documents. So that is your official one. That is the most serious, quote unquote, document. And that's what many schools will require, if not while you're applying, once you're admitted. Unofficial transcripts, on the other hand, might be ones that you can download from the internet or you can print out many copies of, and they don't have that signature, that stamp, or that seal that makes it official that comes directly from the school. Now, when you're applying, some universities will say you can send unofficial transcripts, and then once you're admitted, send official ones. Other ones ask for official transcripts. Generally, our recommendation is if you're going to pay to have something translated, you should send the official version and then send the official translation to the universities. That'll just save you one extra step, one extra document that you might have to translate in the future. So these documents, you can scan and upload your official transcripts and their translations to the application portal. You, of course, want to make sure that this is a high quality scan where you can read everything that's said on the page, even the smallest tiny print at the bottom. And then, of course, that university will take that along with all of your other application materials. They'll review it, they'll go through that process. And then, if you're admitted, they'll ask you for the official transcripts. Um, those transcripts are usually sent through an electronic transcript system, not through an email. There's usually an online portal that you'll upload them through, or some universities will ask for the physical versions. So you'll have the physical printed copies of the translation and the transcript. You'll mail them in a sealed envelope to the university. And if you are mailing them physically, this can be an additional cost, especially if you have to pay for the shipping with UPS or DHL. So now on to what undergraduate students will need to have translated. If you're a graduate student, feel free to watch this part or skip ahead to graduate students. So for my undergraduates, what are your transcripts going to look like? So it should include your last year of junior high school or middle school, el tercer año de secundaria. You need that year. Just that year, you don't need anything else from middle school. And then you'll need your 3 years of high school. Of course, what happens? I'm starting my last year of high school. I only have grades for my last year of secundaria and my first 2 years of high school. What do I do? Well, if you're applying while you're still finishing high school, you'll send those 3 years of grades. So secundaria and the 2 years of high school. You'll have those translated, and then you'll submit those usually to the Common Application Portal. And once you send your applications, schools will review them and they'll either admit or deny you. Hopefully, you get lots of admittance letters, and they'll say, great, now we just need your last year of grades. You'll have your last year of grades translated, and you'll send that to them as soon as you have those grades, and you'll be admitted to the program. If, for example, your high school has a 2-year program, you might also have to send grades from your second year of secundaria or middle school. That's just because universities want to see your past 4 years of grades. That's kind of the rule of thumb. Your 4-year his school history is what they want to see. You'll want to send a certified copy. So, of course, you're making a copy of that official document, the one that is stamped and sealed and signed, or whatever your school does to show that it's official. You'll send one set of that certified copy to the university where you've been admitted, a second one, and a third one you'll keep yourself. Only for students in our scholarship program do we keep them in our files, but it's good to have 2 backup copies just in case. Also, Common App has a mid-year report. So what does that mean? Usually you're applying and maybe you'll have your documents sent to be translated in August or September before you apply to universities towards November, December, all the way up till January of the year that you'll be starting. The mid-year report is an application form that's usually sent to the universities once your grades from the first semester or trimester are registered in the transcript. So all that application process, you're sending your documents to be translated from your first 2 years of high school and your third year in middle school while you're in classes for your second to last semester of high school. The major report is those grades from that first semester. Basically, schools just want to see that you're still taking hard classes, you're doing well, you're showing up while they're looking at your application. This form is usually presented along with the most recent grades. And then this form is sent as soon as the grades are available. Also on Common App, you'll send your final report. So once you've already applied to schools in, let's say, January, you'll finish your last semester of high school. And then once you're finished, you'll have your transcript from your last year, which is the information that the university won't have yet because you're still probably in the process of taking those classes. You'll get those translated and you'll send them to the school as your final report. It must be sent once the applicant has been chosen, once you know your school you're going to, right? By the time you finish high school, you'll have been admitted into a US university and you'll know where you're going. You can only send one final report, so make sure that it's correct and has all the information that it needs. If you're a student applying to undergraduate programs and you've already graduated high school, you don't have to worry about this mid-year report or final report. You'll just have your full official transcript that you'll translate, and then send to the universities, and they'll say, great, we have all that information we need. Another document that you'll likely have to send on Common App is a school profile. This is a summary regarding the student population, academic programs, grade system, along with other information about your school. Where are most students coming from? Is it serving primarily rural populations, urban populations? Is there an IB program? Are there AP classes? That kind of information. If your school doesn't have a school profile, you can create one. Usually you'll have to do it with a school counselor because a lot of this information you might not be able to find by yourself or on the internet. And if you want an example, here is an example. We'll also share that in the description of this video below. But as you can see, this is a really beautiful example of a school profile. If you're not sure if your school has a profile, if they sent a lot of students abroad, probably they already have one that's ready in English, and that's great. Your school will submit it on Common App, so you won't have to do it yourself, but you can work with them if they don't already have a document to create it. So you can see, of course, they have the year structure, the grading system, and then, of course, they explain different curriculum that they do. Maybe your school does bilingual curriculum. That's an important note to have in this information. This document does not have to be officially translated. So you can work with your school. Maybe they already have a version in Spanish. You can work with your school to work on translating this. You don't have to send it to an official translator. Okay, and then the last part of the documents that you'll need to probably have translated is your CSS profile. This is a profile of you and your family's financial information. So for institutions that provide financial aid to international students, they need to understand your financial situation within their local economic context. So how is your family doing financially compared to others where you're living? So it'll gather data regarding your family income and expenses. Parents or students may fill out this information in local currency, so you should be filling this out in Mexican pesos. This format might ask for some documents, such as your tax returns or your tax information, bank statements, as well as title deeds. If your family owns property or owns cars, they might ask for the deeds or the information that shows what you own. You might need to translate some of these documents, such as your bank statements or your tax returns. So as you're working with your family to fill out your CSS profile, make sure you have a list of the different documents that you need and the documents that you'll need to be translated, because you'll have to send these to an official translator as well. So that is it for undergraduate students. Of course, if you're in the early bird advising cohort, and you have questions about these documents, you're not sure, you have questions about how to send these to a perito traductor, this would be a great opportunity to reach out to your primary advisor and schedule an advising appointment to talk more about the documents. If you want to confirm that what you're sending are your official transcripts, we're happy to do that. And without further ado, on to our graduate students. So graduate students, you're going to, of course, need to send your transcript, which is also your cardex or your diploma, or excuse me, your transcript, which is your cardex or your historial académico. You'll need to send your diploma or título, as well as any foreign academic programs that you did. So if you are applying to master's programs, you will need to send your cardex or your transcript from your undergraduate program. So you need to send the 4 years of licenciatura. If you're applying to a PhD and you already have a master's, you'll need to send the transcript and your titles from your undergraduate program and from your master's program. If you're currently in an undergraduate program or you just finished an undergraduate program and you're going directly to a PhD, of course, you'll only have your undergraduate or licenciatura information to send. What does this mean? What do you have to send? Usually it's your título, and if it's a certified copy, so that means it has a stamp, a seal, or a signature from your school. Usually you only get one version of that document. You'll want to send a certified copy of that, meaning the copy of the document that has the signature, the stamp, or the seal. And then, of course, one is going to be sent, one of the certified translations will be sent to the university where you've been admitted. and a second and a third can be kept by you as backups just in case maybe you need an extra, the school loses it, you want to have a backup. So, what happens if an institution is not only asking me for official transcripts and translations, but also a credential evaluation? What is that? So, a credential evaluation is a kind of a audit of your program done by a third party. So there are organizations that just go in and they'll look at all the classes they take that you took. They'll look at your university and things like that and do an evaluation and say, basically, yes, the student has complied with whatever requirements that the university is looking. It helps understand your background, especially academically. So, for example, maybe you went to a really small university for your undergraduate degree and you're applying to University of Vermont. And University of Vermont is like, we don't know anything about this program. We're not sure. Let's do a credential evaluation, or let's have the student do a credential evaluation where you're going to hire this company to go through and look at all the classes that you took during your undergraduate degree, and they'll say, this is what the student knows. This is basically what the university they went to taught them. So a credential evaluation usually includes the name or the credential of the degree earned. It'll go over courses taken in your study program and the US equivalent and grades. It'll also look at the equivalent GPA on the US version, which is of course a scale from 0 to 4, and any additional comments or explanations about the credentials or the degree program. Maybe you took a really unique degree where you did a joint program between two universities, and University of Vermont has never seen this before. And they're like, we don't know what's going on. The credential evaluation will offer a little more explanation for that. But of course, unfortunately, this is another cost to you as the student. So keep that in mind, and make sure that you are planning appropriately for if a US institution asks you to do a credential evaluation. And of course, we have more information about that if your university asks you. It's usually not in every case, but we're happy to help you through that process. So any questions can be directed to us. So, of course, types of different credential evaluation, there are many different options. Of course, general is just the authenticity of your degree as well as the equivalency in the US system. A general GPA, of course, you're going to have what is in the general plus what your GPA is on the 4.0 scale. Course by course is going to be a little more in depth. They're going to look at all the classes you took, basically the grades you got, what credits they are, and the equivalent course title in the US system or the University of Vermont. An educational credential evaluation will be done document by document. And then if you need to do a professional work experience evaluation, that'll look at your professional work experience. Make sure that if a university is asking you for a credential evaluation, make sure they're specifying which type of credential evaluation they want, as well as if they have any preferred agencies or companies through which they want you to do it. Okay, so now graduate students usually ask, will I need to turn in official transcripts or unofficial transcripts? Remember, the official ones are the signed, sealed, stamped, the one copy that you get from your institution, and unofficial are ones that you can maybe get from online or you can print out yourself without having to have, the official sign, stamp, or seal. And of course, the response always is, it depends. So you'll have to look and see what is your university asking for. Are they asking for unofficial transcripts? Are they asking for official ones? And you'll have to make the right choice. Most institutions will allow you to submit your transcript digitally, and they won't ask you to send them via mail until after admissions. Some don't even require you to send physical copies anymore. They accept official transcripts through an online portal. However, of course, there's always that caveat. Some institutions will require official transcripts for the admission review. You might even have to mail these official transcripts to be considered, and you will not get the copies of those documents back. So keep that in mind. Make sure you're reading really well what universities are asking for so that you can submit the correct documents. Of course, my recommendation is If you finish your undergraduate degree and you have all of your official transcripts, you should have those documents translated and sent to universities, even if they're only asking for the unofficial ones via digital platforms. You'll already have the official ones for when you're admitted and they ask for the official ones. They're already translated, you're ready to go. Of course, general requirements for uploading your transcripts. Make sure that they are high quality scanned documents. You need to be able to read everything that's on the document as well as the translator. They have to be able to see everything in order to translate it all. Make sure it's high quality. If you have a newer smartphone, you probably have a really high quality camera, so you'd probably be fine taking a photo or a scan. We recommend the application Cam Scanner. That can be a great option. It will scan the document and give you a digitalized version that you can use for translations. Make sure your whole name is on there as it is shown on your e-name or your official ID. You don't want it to be confused as someone else, or you don't want someone to say, this isn't the same student. Make sure your documents show your GPA. And then, of course, your título. You should be sending certified copies. You should not send your original to the school. You only get one original. So please do not be sending that around. Keep that very safe. Have these certified copies so that you're showing the documents, but you don't have to worry about it being lost, especially if you're sending it physically. You don't want it to be lost in the mail. And then, of course, make sure any official documents are bearing the official seal, signature, or stamp, whatever shows that it's an official document directly from your institution. You want to make sure that it's on there. Okay, so thank you so much for this time. Of course, if you're in the 2025 Early Bird Advising cohort and you have any additional questions, please email us. Either you can email your primary advisor or our general email. We'd be happy to assist you in this process, or look to sign up for a advising meeting with either myself or Mariana, and we would be happy to answer your questions. Thank you so much.